I can't do this anymore. We're finished.
He said it again, calm and cold, like he was talking about the weather. If you don't like it, we can just get divorced. The first time Ethan threatened divorce, Lily thought it was said in anger. They had only been married 6 months, and she cried all night, begging him not to say things like that. He apologized the next morning and kissed her forehead, telling her she was overreacting. She believed him because she loved him. But then he said it again during another argument. And again after that. Soon the word divorce became his favorite weapon. Whenever Lily disagreed with him, forgot something small, or simply tried to express her feelings, Ethan would lean back, fold his arms, and casually threaten to end their marriage. He watched her face carefully every time, waiting for the tears, for the panic, for her to rush toward him and say she was sorry. Lily didn't realize at first that he enjoyed it. To Ethan, her love was a prize he kept winning over and over. Each time she begged him to stay, he felt powerful, important, irreplaceable. He would smirk slightly, then pull her into a hug and say, "See? You can't live without me." The threats kept coming. By the 10th time, Lily stopped crying immediately, but her hands still shook. By the 30th, she no longer begged right away. She would go silent, staring at the floor while he waited for her to break. By the 60th, she had started keeping a small notebook in her drawer. Every time he mentioned divorce, she wrote it down with a simple number beside it. Ethan never noticed the notebook. He only noticed how predictable her reactions were. To him, it was a game he always won. On the 99th time, the argument was about something trivial. He had forgotten their anniversary dinner, and blamed her for not reminding him. "Maybe we should just get divorced," he said, scrolling through his phone like it meant nothing. Lily stood there quietly, her eyes glassy but dry. She nodded once, turned around, and went to their bedroom. Ethan smiled to himself, certain she would come back in a few minutes to apologize like always. Instead, she opened her drawer, took out the notebook and wrote 99 in careful handwriting. She stared at the page for a long time, her heart pounding. Then she closed it and went to bed without saying another word. The next morning was peaceful. Too peaceful. Lily made breakfast, packed Ethan's lunch, and even kissed him goodbye at the door. Ethan felt oddly unsettled by her calmness, but he brushed it off. He was sure she was just trying to avoid another argument. A week later, they fought again. This time, it was about money. Ethan accused her of spending too much, even though she worked full-time and paid half the bills. Lily tried to explain, her voice steady but tired. Ethan rolled his eyes, stood up from the couch, and said the words he had said 99 times before. "Maybe we should just get divorced." For a second, nothing happened. No tears. No panique. Just silence. Lily slowly reached into her pocket and pulled out the small notebook. She flipped through the pages until she reached the last line. With a pen she had started carrying with her, she wrote one more number, 100. She looked up at him, her expression strangely calm. "Okay," she said softly. "Let's do it." Ethan laughed, thinking she was joking. "Come on, Lily. Stop being dramatic." But she didn't laugh. She walked past him into the bedroom and started pulling clothes from the closet. Ethan followed her, confused. "What are you doing?" "You've asked for a divorce 100 times, she replied, folding her shirts neatly into a suitcase. "I figured it was something you really wanted." Panic crept into Ethan's chest for the first time. "I didn't mean it like that. You know, I was just angry." Lily paused and looked at him. Her eyes were tired, not angry. "I believed that the first 10 times. Maybe even the first 50. But after a while, I realized something." She zipped up the suitcase. "You never said it because you wanted to leave. You said it because you liked watching me beg." Ethan opened his mouth to argue, but no words came out. Deep down he knew she was right. She carried her suitcase to the door. He followed, his voice shaking now. "Lily, wait. We can talk about this. I'll stop saying it. I promise." She gave him a sad smile. "I begged you to stop after the first time. You didn't listen." When the door closed behind her, the silence in the apartment felt heavier than any argument they had ever had. Ethan stood there, staring at the empty hallway, expecting her to come back in, expecting this to be another round of their twisted game. But she didn't come back. Days turned into weeks. Ethan tried calling, texting, even showing up at her workplace, but she kept her distance. The apartment that once felt too small now felt painfully empty. He began to notice all the little things Lily used to do. The way she organized his messy desk. The way she left sweet notes in his lunch. The way she laughed at his bad jokes. He realized he had never once threatened to lose her because he thought she was worthless. He did it because he was terrified she might discover she deserved better. By the time the divorce papers arrived in the mail, Ethan's hands were trembling. This was the first time the word divorce carried real weight, and it crushed him. He signed the papers with tears blurring his vision, finally understanding that some words, once spoken too many times, stop being threats and start becoming reality. Lily rebuilt her life slowly. She found a small apartment of her own, decorated it the way she liked, and began to smile again without fear of saying the wrong thing. She learned that love should never feel like a test you have to keep passing. Ethan, on the other hand, carried his regret like a shadow. He had won his little game 99 times, but the 100th time cost him everything that truly mattered. Because in the end, love is not proven by how desperately someone fights to stay, but by how carefully you protect their heart so they never feel the need to leave.